everyone, Danny here. So it's been 1 month since my last garden tour video and everything is just ready to burst. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link to it in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. But let me show you my garden. Just like the last video, here's my raspberries all the way down to the end of my garden. You'll see that my raspberries are at least double in height. We've been eating on those for the past 4 weeks. We've had way more raspberries than I was expecting to get. And every day my kids come out here and they've just been cleaning the fruit from these plants. But now all of the fruit's kind of gone dormant and the plants are obviously putting on a lot more growth. See how long those are? We're gonna have to stake those up here pretty soon and get that going. But I've been pretty surprised at how much fruit we've gotten from these plants just in our very first year with our raspberry bushes. You guys, look at my tomato plants. Holy cow, do you see how tall these are? These stakes are about 6 feet high, and look at this guy. He is just huge. I want to get you in close and see how we have weaved this tomato plant through these wires here. And this is about our second year doing our tomato trellises this way, and to be honest, it's been slightly difficult to get some of these larger plants in. This right here is my sun gold tomato plant, and if you look down here, these are my very first tomatoes of the season. Yay! These things are so sweet and delicious and perfect. This tomato plant gets huge though, and it's been kind of a pain to keep up with it and weave everything through the trellis. But for this year, it's working. Next year, we might not do this. Oh, there's Stella. But look, guys, I have so many tomatoes that are green, that are just almost, that I am just dying. Look, I've got tons of flowers on this plant. Just need to pollinate those guys. But all of these green tomato plants, I am just dying for them to turn red so I can stop buying tomatoes from the grocery store. And guys, if you have never had a fresh tomato from a garden, it just does not compare to a grocery store tomato. They are just sweet and juicy and perfect, and there's just nothing like it. If you can't grow them like I do, shoot, there are farmer markets everywhere these days, and if you can get them from a local farmer, that's the way to do it. You guys, look at my green beans here. Oh, Stella loves to lay on our grass mulch. It gets hot, and she's an old girl who likes to keep warm. But look at my green beans. If you remember, there are a couple in here that I had to reed seed because my squirrels got to them, but look, it really has not affected their growth. They are huge, and I've got tons of flowers. So I am expecting a lot of green beans this year. Green beans are something that we have just not dedicated room in our garden the past few years. And I am so looking forward to coming out here and grabbing what we need for our house. Green beans also one of those vegetables that my children will actually eat, so yay for that. One thing that we noticed this year is, if you see right here, this is our drip line, and we use drip line in our garden so that we are watering our plants and not watering weeds, even though we still get them. But these drip emitters are about every 6 inches, and I seeded this whole row, but I've got plants about every 6 inches. But guys, it is so hot here. We're in the triple digits right now, and we have messed around with our watering schedule a few times to try and make sure that all of our plants get enough water. And I just really feel like these drip lines, although they're giving plenty of water in there, it's drying up so fast that my carrots aren't able to flush out too much. So we might do something different for our carrots, but gosh, I've got a few. That's nice. Back here, this is our vining area. If you remember from the last video, I've got crookneck squash, pumpkin, cantaloupe, and zucchini. Guys, I don't know what's going on with my cantaloupe. Look how small it is. I mean, vining plants, look how big all the other vining plants are, and this little cantaloupe is just teeny, but I do have one on there and lots of flowers, so I just don't know what to think. Maybe it didn't get enough water or something, who knows. Guys, these vining plants are something that show that they need water pretty quick. You can see I've got wilty leaves back here. I'm honestly not too concerned about that. We water our plants every day, middle of the night, and it is just so hot here, guys. We are in the triple digits. It is scorching right now. Guys, this is my favorite right here. Look how beautiful my dahlias are. I mean, look at that. Look how perfect. Like I said in my last video, I plant these every year. I've been doing it for about 10 years. Dahlias get really nice, big, thick stalks, but they are a heavy plant. So you'll get things like this guy that just like to fall down. So I've got stakes in here, just kind of as I see plants fall over. But look how perfect. This flower surprised me. It, instead of having this more rounded shape, it's got more like a little sunflower face. So that surprised me. I don't know if that's just, these are the first 2 flowers from this stalk. I don't know if the whole stalk's gonna do that or what, but aren't those pretty? So pretty. And then over here, oh my goodness, this isn't even the biggest one I have gotten out of here, but look how big. Such big, beautiful flowers. These back here are white, and the tips, I don't know if you can see that, but just the tips are this deep purple color. They are just gorgeous, guys. I can't get enough of these. At the end of the season, I am planning on experimenting with digging up the dahlia tubers. Dahlias are something that do not overwinter here in Boise, Idaho. We're a zone 6, and we just get too wet and cold for them, and they rot in the ground. So I'm going to experiment with digging them up and overwintering the tubers and even splitting them so I can have more plants next year. And I'm planning on doing a video of that so you can see how I do it, so that maybe I can have a couple rows out of dahlias out here and not have to buy them every year. This is my cucumber that I didn't have enough room for in my vining area over there, but gosh, if I knew my what is that, cantaloupe was going to be that small, I probably could have squeezed them in there. But cukes are another thing that show they need water pretty quick. I've got some wilty sad leaves, but like I said, it is in the triple digits here, so I am just not too worried about that guy. Here are my strawberry planters, and you guys, I have just been so shocked. This is the first year we planted this strawberry patch, and I have had so many strawberries. I was so excited. I was so surprised. My children have just been out here. See, look how perfect that is. Don't mind my hands, that is beet juice. But look how perfect that is. My kids have been out here just ravishing these plants. My daughter is 2, and she doesn't care if the strawberry is red or green or pink or whatever. She comes out here and will eat any of it. The other thing that she thinks is funny is to take my onion plants and to push them down. So you'll see I've got some, especially on the end here, that are just folded over and not looking super happy, but what do you do? I've got my toddlers out in the garden. And I think it's important to show them how you grow food, and if they destroy a plant here and there, whatever. But one thing to note is the tops of these onion plants, you can just pull these off or cut them off, and I use these in my cooking just like I use a chive. So super tasty. You can use the whole plant. If you remember my last video, I couldn't remember which box had which onion variety, but these, just the top here, is purple. These are my red onions. Sorry, I say strawberries. These are red onions. So right there, I don't normally intersperse my onions with other plants because onions need room to get the nice ball on it. But since this is the first year doing my strawberries in these boxes, I knew they weren't gonna spread out and really fill in the area. So I knew the onions would have plenty of room to do what they needed to do. These are my peppers back here. They're doing great, guys. I've got some huge guys in the back. If I remember correctly, those are my poblano peppers. So yummy. All these little guys are my hot pepper plants, and they are all just doing awesome. I've got some little peppers. I've got some all over. Got bell peppers in there. And I could start using them now if I wanted, but I'm going to let them get bigger so I can really get the full benefit. And if I leave them to get bigger, I'm pretty sure all of my bell pepper varieties are reds or oranges or yellows. So I'll get the red, orange, and yellow varieties. Makes them a little bit sweeter if I can stand to wait. Guys, look how awesome my basil are doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some of them are bigger than others, and that's because I've pruned them at different times so that just depending on what I'm cooking that day. But basil is something that it bushes out like this when you prune it. If you don't prune it, you will notice you get a big, kind of a taller stalk that's just one single stalk of basil, and then it'll start to flower. And when it flowers, it loses its unique flavor, and it tastes a little more bitter, a little bit more like licorice actually. So basil is something you need to prune, and it'll bush out like this, giving you even more basil to work with. Just know that the more you pick off of there, the more you get. And when I come in here and pick, I don't just take one leaf off the plant. I come in and I take off the stalks. I pinch off the stalk, and it'll, as long as you do it in the right spot, you'll just get more plants. So from my basil over here, I've got 1, 2 rows. This is the area that I had my cut flowers. I planted flowers from seed, and I've got these taller guys. These are some sunflowers that my kids and I did a little later into the season, so I'm not sure if they're going to get to their full 12-foot height, but if they do, I'm pretty excited about that. I've never done sunflowers, and my husband said that you can just get so many sunflower seeds, and I think my kids will really enjoy that. I've got one little alyssum here, but other than that, most of these are flowers that I have not done this year, so this is kind of my experiment area. I'm pretty sure this is a California poppy. I'd have to look at my seed packets to tell you for sure, but this chunk right here, these are bachelor buttons, and oh my goodness, I've never done these before, and look how stinking cute they are. And this is, I think it's supposed to be purple. I don't know, they look blue to me because look at this. I've got this deeper purple here, and this is a white with just a little flush of pink in the center. I just think that's so cute. And then, oh, the honeybees love these bachelor buttons. We've got a really pretty pink there and some pretty purples, and there are so many little buds. All of these are all just buds. I am so excited to see these really flush out and take off. There would be more flowers out here, but my little 2-year-old daughter loves flowers just as much as her mama, and she comes out here and picks to her heart's content, which is fine by me. I do not remember what these are. If you can tell what that is just from just from the stalk there. Leave a comment below, let me know what it is, but I'm hoping it'll flower out and tell me what it is soon, and if not, well, oh well. Behind this is just honestly the saddest part of my garden. There's just weeds. These are 2 boxes that we're planning on putting out in the garden so we can do our fall crop. I'm really hoping in the next end of August here we'll get that out and get the dirt going and prep that area. But this is my sad area. This is where, look at that. I just keep my spare stakes and stuff, and stuff like this really bothers me, or at least it used to. And I have 3 kids now. They're 4 down to my little baby, so they don't bother me. You have to let things go. It doesn't bother me so much. But I'm going to do a video out here on how I get rid of this just swatch of weeds here. But anyways, I don't want to show you any more of that. But let me get you turned around. I'll show you what's over here. Over here, if you remember, this was my beauty in my last video. It's my sage plant, and it got pretty high, and all of the flowers just got heavy and the whole thing just fell over. So about 3 weeks ago I just cut it back, and it's something that you just do with perennials, some of them anyways. If they're starting to look a little sad midsummer, you just cut them back and they'll flush out. You know, don't quote me on that if you chop your plant to the ground and it doesn't come back. But you can see I've got little flowers. Hi, Stella. I've got little flowers coming back, so it should be really pretty here in the next couple of weeks. I've got beets ready to pick. I've got beet juice on my hands, just a little bit, but down there when you can start seeing the bulbs right there, you can kind of tell how big they are and harvest them when you're ready. This mess, guys, ugh, here in Boise, Idaho, I have had just the worst luck with morning glory. This stuff, I swear, I come out every couple of days and I just pull this stuff out, and I get so sick of it by the end of the season that it's just the bane. If you have any tips on how to get rid of morning glory, please let me know. Leave it in the comments below. I want to say I had a girlfriend tell me they spoke to a weed specialist here in Idaho, and they said the roots of morning glory go down something like 90 feet. I mean, something just ridiculous. So it's not a fun one to have in your garden. This pile right here, this mess, those are radishes, and I picked a few of them at the very beginning and they were fairly spicy, and honestly just got busy and didn't get to them, so I let them go to seed. And I don't know if you can see, but there are honeybees all over this. So I figured, just leave them for now. And I've been pulling some out as they fall over, and what do? Sometimes you just can't get to it. I have some thyme back here that's starting to look a little sad. I need to cut that back. And then my really pretty lavender, when I started it a couple years ago, and it was itty bitty tiny, and now it's just looking really pretty. So I need to find a permanent home for that. I've just been leaving it in my garden to get big and to bring bees to my garden, but I think it's time it found its permanent home. That's my garden, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I really enjoy seeing how the different ways that people do their garden. Everybody gardens different. Everybody does it a little bit different. They water different, they plant different, they do boxes or in the ground or whatever, and depending on what fertilizer you use, plants grow at different times and different speeds. And I hope that you enjoyed seeing how I do things, and if you watch my fertilizing video on how I fertilized my garden, these are the results that I get. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe. if you're interested in keeping up with me and what we do in our garden. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.